Today, we're diving into a real head-scratcher at the center of the housing crisis, something that's got a lot of people wondering what's really going on.
Okay, so let's get right into it. All across the country, states are rolling out all these new rules to make it way easier to build houses, right? The idea is more houses, lower prices. But then you look around your own community and you have to ask, where are all the new homes? What is the holdup?
Well, this big idea that's sweeping the nation is often called housing abundance. And the goal is pretty straightforward. Let's fundamentally change the rules of the game and kickstart a huge boom in new housing, especially in places that are really starved for it.
And what we're seeing is this massive shift in how we think about housing policy. For decades, it was all about local control, which, often meant super restrictive zoning, endless red tape, and cities just saying no. The new plan tries to flip that on its head, with a big push from the state level to streamline approvals.
Now, to really get a grip on this, we've got to look at California. It's kind of the perfect case study. The state has been super aggressive with these housing abundance reforms. But that's exactly where this grand vision is colliding head-on with what's happening on the ground in local cities and towns. And if you just look at the new laws, you'd think it's a huge success. Seriously, on paper, it looks like everything is working perfectly. More homes are getting the green light than ever before, all because these new laws are supposed to cut through all the old bureaucracy.
And lawmakers are getting really specific here. They're rewriting zoning to allow duplexes or those little backyard cottages, ADUs, where they were banned before. They're even creating a single statewide application form to stop cities from tacking on weird requirements. Basically, they're trying to remove every single roadblock they can think of.
But what happens when one of these state-approved, ready-to-go projects runs into a local roadblock? Well, let's look at a lawsuit from San Luis Obispo, a city right on the California coast, that shows you exactly what this clash looks like in the real world.
So the project was honestly the perfect example of what the state wants to see. A developer found a rundown empty lot and planned to build 8 new homes on it, 4 main houses, and each one gets a small ADU. It's a simple, common-sense project in a place that desperately needs more housing.
Okay, now let's talk money. Because this is where the story takes a sharp turn. According to the lawsuit, to build just one of those houses with its little companion unit would cost over $1.3 million. Just for construction. That's a huge number. Keep it in your head.
But before a single shovel could even touch the dirt, the city came to the developer and said, hold on a second. You see, they have a local rule called an inclusionary housing ordinance, and to move forward, the developer had to pick between 2 very tough options.
So, here's the choice. Option 1, sell that $1.3 million property for just $450,000. That's a massive guaranteed loss. Or option 2, just write the city a check for almost $100,000. That's a fee you have to pay for the privilege of building. It's pretty much a lose-lose situation.
And this quote, which comes right out of the lawsuit, just says it all. When you're faced with 2 bad financial choices, a third one suddenly looks pretty good. And that's the one that hurts everybody the most. Just walk away from the whole thing. Don't build anything.
So let's actually look at the math. This is what we call the spreadsheet veto. It's how a simple fee, a line item on a spreadsheet, can have the final say and completely overrule state housing policy. All right, let's break this down. It's actually pretty simple. So let's say the developer figures they can sell one of these homes for $1.4 million. After you subtract the construction costs, you're left with a very thin profit margin. But then, you subtract that nearly $100,000 local fee, and poof, the project is suddenly losing money. And here's why that is a deal breaker. You can't just walk into a bank and say, hey, can I borrow a few $1,000,000 for a project that's guaranteed to lose money? It just doesn't work that way. Lenders need to see a potential profit to justify the risk. So a project with red ink like this, it's dead on arrival. It never even gets to a public hearing. The spreadsheet vetoed it. Now, to be fair, the city's not trying to be the bad guy here. The idea behind these rules is a good one. The money from these fees goes into a fund that San Luis Obispo has actually used to help build over 1,000 affordable homes. The goal is to create communities where people from all different income levels can live. But this tension, this clash between good intentions and financial reality, it means the fight over the future of housing is far from over. In fact, it's really just moving to a whole new battlefield.
So now you have public interest law firms suing cities all over California. And their argument is that these fees aren't just a bad idea, they might actually be unconstitutional.
They're pointing to Supreme Court cases that have used some really strong language, even calling similar fees extortion.
So at the end of the day, this is the vicious circle we were talking about. You see how it works, right? Step 1, the state goes all in on housing abundance. Step 2, local cities use fees to manage what gets built and to pay for city services. And step 3, the result is that a lot of projects that look good on paper become totally impossible to actually build. And we're right back where we started.
In response, the pro-housing advocates, you might have heard them called YIMBYs, which stands for Yes in My Backyard. They're shifting their strategy. After making a lot of progress on changing zoning laws, they're now going after what they see as the next big problem, these project-killing local fees.
And that leaves us with the million-dollar question for the future of housing, doesn't it? As we try so hard to knock down one barrier to building more homes, are we just accidentally putting up a new one? Finding that balance is the challenge that's going to decide whether we ever actually build the housing our communities so badly need.